Hey, what's up YouTube? This is a follow-up video on the Taurus 692 revolver chambered in 357 mag and 9mm. So I've already done an unboxing video of this particular gun, and it's got some really cool features that I like about it. In particular, the barrel porting, I think, helps significantly reducing felt recoil when using heavy loads, such as 158 grain, full power 357, or even some of the 180 grain heavy loads that are available for that caliber. Now, I've taken this to the range a couple of times now, and I do have a couple of comments, I think, that I'd like to mention. First off, I just got back from the range today, and I fired this revolver, but I also fired this new Ruger that I picked up last week, and this is one of the new 7-shot GP100s, and this particular one has a 3-inch barrel. And it's the only one, as far as I know, that's a 7-shot with a 3-inch barrel. It comes with the fiber optic sight and the wood grips. Now, I shot these side by side, and let me tell you, this particular Ruger, even though it's heavy, kicks like nothing else. And you can see on my thumb, actually, I already have, I only managed to fire one cylinder full. I've already got a little bit of a blister forming just from the grip of this gun. On the other hand, I'll go back to the Taurus revolver here. A couple of things that really help with this is the barrel porting, like I mentioned, but also the rubber grip that comes standard. This thing felt like I was shooting 38s when in fact I was shooting full power 357 loads. There was a huge difference in felt recoil between this and the Ruger. Now, a couple other things that I like to mention. Don't expect this to be as nice as something like a Smith & Wesson, because the finish isn't nearly as nice. You might notice a couple of things like the barrel looks like it might be canted. It's actually not. It's actually right on, but some of the casting was a little uneven on it. Nothing major that impacted the functionality of the gun. Another thing that's cool about it is what I found is when changing out the cylinder. So I'll take off the 357 and put in the 9mm. Come on. There we go. Now this guy works great with any kind of 9mm load that I've had so far that I've tried to put through it. You'll notice that the gap in the rear here is quite a bit wider than compared to the 357, and that's because of the allowance of moon clips. So the 357 cylinder is not cut to take moon clips, but the 9mm is. So physically what they did is they made the cylinder a little bit shorter, and you can see that there's a huge gap, but that becomes less noticeable if you put a moon clip in there with the rounds. Another thing is, do you have to actually use the moon clips in order to use 9mm with this gun? Well, I've got 147 grain 9mm round there, and I'll go ahead and put a few of these in. You'll notice that they actually go in and they headspace perfectly fine. Now if we close the revolver here, and I'll adjust the angle, it actually headspaces enough that it can still be hit by the firing pin. So it fires just fine without using moon clips. The trick is unloading it or ejecting any unused or spent cases. So that's really what the purpose of the moon clip is, to be able to eject. As you can see, ejection does not work when you don't use moon clips. So you have to pluck the cartridges out manually. But, you know, for if you're just going to the range to use it as practice with 9mm, I don't think that's that big of a deal. It takes a little more time to unload and reload with 9mm, but it doesn't impact the functionality at all. You might notice that there's a little bit of a gap there in the front of the barrel shroud. You know, these aren't Smith & Wesson, so you're going to have a few fitting issues, but they don't seem to impact any functionality at all. And the last thing that maybe I'll mention is the front sight here is painted orange. Well, from what I understand and from looking closer at it, it's actually not painted on, but rather it's a small adhesive sticker that's fitted into the groove of that front sight. So there is the possibility that over time it could peel off, get hot and peel off, and you end up losing the high visibility capability here. And one of the downsides is I haven't really found much in the way of changeable front sights for this particular revolver. It looks like this is pinned on, and maybe some of the pin-on front sights for Smith & Wesson would work in here, but the spacing is a little bit different. So if you have one that's already been drilled for Smith & Wesson and you try and change it out onto this revolver, your pinhole won't line up. But that isn't to say that maybe one that hasn't been drilled out yet would be able to be drilled and fit to fit this particular gun. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. Like I said, the felt recoil, this thing handles it like a champ. Full power 357s, no problem at all. Feels like you're shooting 38s all day long. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. Because of its design, one thing that I found is a lot of the Smith & Wesson 686 accessories that I have, I've got holsters and things. This is so close in shape that a lot of those accessories will work with this revolver. So overall, I'm pretty pleased. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll see you guys around.